your program on Crest 106.1 FM, Alagbakakure, on the Bill of Help for the Depressed Foundation. My name is Oluwadami Lola Taiwo. Today is World Mental Health Day, and that is what we are talking about. The theme for this year, it is time to prioritize mental health in the workplace. With me today, I have two resource persons to do justice to these issues. We'll be talking about the issue of mental health in the workplace. I have with me Princess Temidayo Olowolaimo. Good evening. Thank you for coming on the show.
Good evening. It's nice being here again.
And I also have Mr. Lanre Amuda. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Pleasure meeting you and being on air.
Now, I'll be starting with Princess Olowolaimo. Now, the issue of mental health in Nigeria is something that is just getting popular, as some would say. But this year, interestingly, we are bringing the conversation to the workplace. But before we get to the issues, how would you rate when you talk about relationship with bosses, when you talk about relationship with employers, how seriously would you take the issue of mental health?
Hello, everyone listening to us. Let me first greet us on this year's celebration of the World Mental Health Day. And I want to tell us that it is a day to look forward to because mental health is important to all of us. Now, going to the question that you just asked, mental health in the workplace. First, let me say that in this setting, we are Nigeria and we are Africans. In this setting, there is this atmosphere around workplaces where the management or the leaders or the bosses at various workplaces, are always seen as up there while other workers are down there. So there's always this gap. There's this disparity. That is the kind of setting we have in Africa. Let me say there are exceptions a little in the private sector where, for example, in the banking system, you see everybody relating as colleagues. But especially in places where we have public sector settings, there's always a very wide gap between whoever is the chief executive and the workers. And talking about mental health in the workplace, I want to, begin to infer from the setting that there is the need for cordiality in the relationship, amongst people that work together. You must be able to interact so freely so that we can express our feelings. We can, easily bring initiatives into organizations where we work so that together everyone can contribute to the overall objectives of the organizations that we work for. Thank you.
All right, thank you. To Mr. Amuda, your foundation, what inspired you to focus on mental health in the workplace?
Thank you very much. Once again, I want to congratulate everyone for witnessing this year's edition of World Mental Health Day. The inspiration, if I can put it that way, for this is because the gap between the developed countries and Africa seems to be getting wider and wider. And we all know that the workplace is where things happen, and if we are going to bridge the gap, we must focus on the content and the design of our workplaces. And so what happens in the work setting will largely determine how organizations are able to achieve their goals, how nations also are able to develop, from where they are to where they should be. So the inspiration, like I said, is because we are looking at a situation where we can bridge the gap, you know, between Africa, Nigeria in particular, and the developed countries. So if we are able to to address this gap, you know, what happens between in the workplace, I believe that, you know, in no distant time, Nigeria, Africa can be like the developed countries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Back to you, Princess Olulaimo. The issue of workplace, there are lots of issues in health issues in Nigeria that suffer setback when it comes to support because of the stigma. One of such issues is the issue of mental health. Now, there are people who cannot even speak to their family members. Now, we are even talking about going to speak to your boss or maybe to your colleagues. Do you think there are ways we can reduce the issue of the discussion of mental health, the stigma in the workplace?
Yeah, thank you. Now, looking at trying to reduce the level of stigma around mental health, you know, over the years is a major focus point for us in Help for the Depressed Foundation. And one of the things I've seen that we need to do is to increase the level of investments in mental health. Sorry, we need to increase our level of investment. One, by ensuring that in every workplace, we are conscious of the need to educate everyone that mental health is as important or even more important than physical health. That's number one. Number two is that we should let everyone know that anyone could be a victim of mental health challenges. You know, when you are aware that this thing is not peculiar to anybody, you will not be quick to say you want to stigmatize anyone that has issues around it, because nobody knows tomorrow. What about you that feels you want to stigmatize? Tomorrow you are the victim, you know. So we need, you know, to do more of education, and like I said, by way of investing more in mental health. And we also need to enhance the area of research and innovation. You know, in this our setting, I think research is always being downplayed on. But trust me, there couldn't be any meaningful development without research. I think organizations in this part of the world should also devote part of their resources to researching into this area of health, because physical health sometimes could be as a result of things that are wrong with your mental health. For instance, if somebody has anxiety issue, anxiety is a mental health condition. If you have anxiety issue, it could lead to a lot of other physical health challenges. And at the end of the day, you see that the victim needs to spend more of his or her resources on getting better. Okay, and that alone will rub on the level of productivity that anyone, you know, will be able to have put into whatever he or she is doing. And, you know, the organization that has one way or the other engaged an employee will want the best from that employee. So I think the leadership of any organization should begin to, you know, carry the consciousness that if we want the best from these people, mentally they should be settled, mentally they should be okay. So we should create that atmosphere whereby they can interact. Like you said earlier, you can't easily talk to family members. So how do you talk to, you know, colleagues or bosses at work, bosses, so to say?